I sometimes wonder if y'all live under a fucking rock. But here you go. This article was published last week. Pharma companies expected to absorb any tariff hit in the short term. And the summary bullet points here: brand name drugs unlikely to see price increases from tariffs. Drug makers expected to absorb initial costs. Tariff costs could threaten access to cheap generic drugs, which have thin profit margins. And tariffs could prompt pharmaceutical companies to cut costs, including staff and R&D activity. The article goes on to further explain that the hit could be big. Close to $213 billion in pharmaceutical products were imported to the U.S. last year, nearly triple compared to 2014. But when it comes to generic drugs, which are allowed after patents expire on branded products, they are mostly made in India and China, and they account for over 90% of the U.S. prescriptions. Then we have this article from Fierce Pharma. Drug makers fear Trump tariffs will drive up manufacturing costs, hurt medicine access, and biosurvey. And this was published March 26th. And in this article, it states nearly 90% of U.S. biotech companies rely on some imported materials for at least half of their FDA-approved products. Further into this article, it states, while manufacturing seemed to be the most consistent concern, the biotechs that responded to the survey also flagged fears that tariffs on multiple different countries and regions could scupper R&D, raw material sourcing, regulatory filings, and partnerships with contractors. And this should kind of hit the point home. On the question of how much time companies expect it will take to tweak their supply chains, 44% of respondents said the process is likely to take more than 2 years. We do not have the manufacturing capabilities to make up this supply chain loss. It will take years to fix. And the final nail in the coffin. This was just posted last week. Hong Kong Post Office will stop shipping parcels to the U.S. over tariffs. Why? Because the U.S. government earlier announced that it would end a customs exception allowing small value parcels from Hong Kong to enter the U.S. without tax, slapping a 120% tariff on them starting from May 2nd. This ban on using USPS by Hong Kong goes into effect April 27th, so 6 days from now. And why is Hong Kong so important? Because it is a major shipping hub from China to us. We get over 50% of our medical supplies from China, along with over 90% of our medications. We also get a bunch of the components needed to make our medications from China. The medication shortages that we've been dealing with over the last 5 years, they're only going to get worse, to the point that people are going to start cutting back on their medications to try and save them, which will have a direct impact on their health. So again, please explain to the rest of us how these tariffs will benefit anyone.